Good morning guys, what's up? So once again I welcome you back to the class, and today I have got a very new thing for you. So after having done the complete session related to chemical bonding and molecular structure, now I think it's the best time that we should be moving on to the question answers. And this session that I'll be taking today will be related to 10 different questions, some which are from past year NEET paper, like past year AIMS also we used to call them, and some which I felt like are quite important and they can be further asked in the upcoming examination. So without any further ado, I think we should be moving on directly to the first question of the session. And here I present the first question for you, and the question is, in the formation of N2 positive from N2, the electron is removed from. So we just need to first of all, so see, you can see the option sigma, pi, sigma star, pi star. So we have to talk in terms of molecular orbital diagrams, right? So now since you know that the total number of protons in the case of N2 is 2 into 7, that means there are 14 protons, and thus there will be 14 electrons since I am talking about a neutral molecule of N2. So I should be first of all drawing the molecular orbital diagram. You know, right, there are two types of molecular orbital diagrams that we do consider. So first is sigma 1s, sigma star 1s, sigma 2s, sigma star 2s, sigma 2pz, sigma star 2pz, then we have pi 2px, pi 2py, here we have pi star 2px and pi star 2py, right. So this is one particular diagram. And the another diagram that we have for molecular orbital that is sigma 1s, which is sigma star 1s, sigma 2s, then we have sigma star 2s, right. Then we have pi 2px and pi 2py, then we have sigma 2pz, after that we have pi star 2px, pi star 2py, and finally on the top we have sigma star 2pz, right. So out of these two, one is for the species which have number of protons greater than 15 and another is for the species which have protons less than or equal to 15, right. So here how I will do the distribution of like if I am talking about the total number of 14 electrons, how will I do the distribution? We will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, right. So this is our case number 1. And if in the opposite case I draw here, then I will say sigma 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. Now it's our duty to decide which out of these two molecular orbital picture will be okay or can be considered good for N2 molecule, right. Now since in the case of nitrogen molecule there are just 14 protons, so number of protons is lesser than 15, so we will be considering this particular diagram, right. And here now we are saying that if nitrogen has to give away one electron and lead to the formation of N2 positive, then that particular electron will be given out from the outermost shell, right, or from the outermost energy level. So there are two terms, one is HOMO and another is LUMO. So whenever the electron is to be removed, it should be removed from HOMO. HOMO means highest occupied molecular orbital, right, and that particular electron will be going to LUMO, which is lowest occupied molecular orbital, right? So in the case of nitrogen, the outermost electron you can see is sigma 2pz. So I can read the question once again, and the question says, in the formation of N2 positive from N2, the electron is removed from sigma orbital, and hence I can say option number A will be the correct option for our first question. Okay. So it was an easy option, not a tough thing to remember, and I think this is done. Now once we are done with this thing, let's move on to our second question. Just give me a minute more, and I will be changing the slide, and then you can see the question number 2 on the board. Okay, so now if I move on to our question number 2. So question number 2 here says that in which of the following pairs of molecules or in which of the following pair of ions the species are not likely to exist. Now see, when we have to figure out whether a species or whether a molecule can exist or it cannot exist, it can be answered on the basis of bond order. So if the bond order is coming out to be 0, then the molecule will not exist, right? So this is hydrogen and helium. The number of protons is very less, so we can simply make the pictures. So let me do one thing. Let me first write down all the options. We have H2 positive, H2 minus. So once again H2 positive and H2 minus is repeated. So these two are the common species. Then we have He2 with 2 minus. Then we have He2 with 2 minus is same. Then we simply have helium 2, and the fourth one is He2 2 positive. So these are the 5 species which we need to consider, right? Let's first draw the diagram. Sigma 1s, sigma star 1s, sigma 2s, sigma star 2s, right? So this particular diagram I am trying to draw for H2 with a positive. Now when H2 with a positive, how many electrons will be there? So if H2 is a neutral molecule, so it will have 2 into 1, but there is 1 positive, so minus 1. Only 1 electron is there, so here we will have 1 electron. Now if I ask you to calculate the bond order, so bond order will be half the total number of electrons in bonding molecular orbital. So it's 1 minus the number of electrons in anti-bonding. So 1 by 2, so the bond order is coming out to be 0.5. That means in our first option, which is H2 positive, you can say that the bond order is coming out to be 0.5. And here it says that both the molecules are not likely to exist. Now moving further to He2 with 2 negative. So we have He2 with 2 negative sign, right? And once again if I draw sigma 1s, sigma star, sigma 2s, sigma star. How many total number of electrons will be there? So we have hydrogen, helium, 2 electrons should be there. So now we have 2 plus 2. 4 should already be there, and 2 more you have added. So now we got 2 to 4 and 2, 6. So see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? And if I ask you to calculate the bond order, these two will get cancelled out. So bond order will be 2 minus 0 divided by 2. So 2 by 2 is 1. The bond order will be 1. Okay. So let me just write down the value. For H2 positive, we are getting half and 1 respectively. Right? Moving on to second option, which is option number B, where H2 is there with a negative sign. So see, if H2 is there with a negative sign, then how many electrons will be there? So 2 electrons should already be there, and 1 more has been added. So the total of 3 electrons. Right? And how to fill 3? So I'll say 1, 2 and 3. Right? And now if I have to calculate the bond order, it should be coming out to be half 2 minus 1. So when I do by the way, so when I do half 2 minus 1, this comes out to be 1 by 2, which is 0.5, right? Now this is coming out to be 0.5. And then we have He2 2 minus, which will again come out to be 1, right? Now let us once again do the calculation of H2 with a positive. So guys, let me just clear the board, then I'll continue. So moving on further, for H2 with a positive sign, so sigma 1s, sigma star, sigma 2s, sigma star. So we have H2 with a positive. How many electrons? Once again 2 into 1 minus 1. So 2 minus 1, only 1 electron is there. So which will be kept here and the bond order will be 0.5. Right? And then we have H2 with a negative. Its bond order will again be 0.5, right? Now if I do for He2 with a positive, so we have not done it yet, let us do this. We have He2 with 2 positive, sigma 1s, sigma star 1s, sigma 2s, sigma star 2s, right? And then here you can see the total number of electrons will be 2 into 2, or you can say 2 plus 2. 4 were there, now 2 got removed, that means 4 minus 2, we are left with 2 only, right? So 2 will be here, and what will be the bond order? 2 by 2, 1, okay? So here in the case of He2 with the 2 positive, bond order will be 1. Now we are left with the last option, which is He2 only. He2 will have a total of 4 electrons. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And the bond order is coming out to be 0. Now if I ask you to read the question again, the question says, in which of the following pair of molecules are ions, both the species are not likely to exist. So see, here bond order 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5 is same. So there is like little dicey situation. But in option number A, B and option number D, they have another compound or the another molecule is having bond order 1. So that will exist. But only and only in option number C, the bond order is coming out to be 0. That means no existence at all. So the best suited option for this particular question which I can figure out is option number C. Okay. So see, this was how your approach should have been for question number 2. Fine. Now having done with this question, let us move on to the next question as well. So now let me get on screen your third question. And the third question that you can see here is, you have to find out the ion which is isoelectronic with carbon monoxide. So first of all, since I am talking about isoelectronic, that means I am talking about the compound or the molecule having same number of electrons. So whichever compound after 4 will be having the same number of electrons as CO will be isoelectronic. Let's do the calculation. Consider carbon monoxide. So carbon is having a total of 6 and oxygen is having a total of 8. So 8 plus 6 is 14. Option number 1, right? Okay, now let's come on to our option number 1. So we have Cn with a negative, right? So see, carbon is having 6, atomic number of nitrogen is 7. But see, there is one negative sign, that means cyanide would have accepted 1 electron to become Cn minus. So add 1 electron, so we will get again 8 plus 6 is 14. Good enough? Moving on to second option. Although we have got our answer, but still I will do all the options. Next is O2 with a positive. So how many electrons will be there in O2 positive? If oxygen would have been there, so 2 into 8. But there is 1 positive, that means it is having a deficiency of 1 electron. So 16 minus 1 is 15. So this is for O2 positive. Clear? Now moving on to the third one. The third one says O2 with a negative. So earlier we did the cation, now we are doing the anion. So we will do 2 into 8 plus 1. That means 16 plus 1, 17 electrons. And finally, let me move on to my fourth option, which is N2 positive. So see, nitrogen is having 2 into 7, 14, but 1 positive is there, making it a total of 13 electrons. Right? We had to figure out the species which is isoelectronic, that means which is having the same number of electrons. So 14 is same to 14, neither 15, 17, 13, right? So which will be our correct option? We can simply say our correct option will be option number A, right? So see, this question was again not tough, but it was a good easy question. Otherwise you have always done isoelectronic species in the case of like Mg2 plus Al3 plus O2 minus F minus N3 minus, right? Like simple ions, single ions. But this time we did the isoelectronic species which are molecules. Fine? Okay. So having done with the third question, let us now move on to our next question, which is question number 4. Okay, and now our question number 4 simply says that the enol form of acetone contains the following. Like now this, guys, this particular question should have been asked in organic chemistry, but since I wanted to tell you something about the pi bond and about sigma bond, since we have discussed this particular topic in this chapter, so I got this question. I have decided to do this question for you here itself. So we have to talk about the enol form of acetone. See here carefully. When I am talking about acetone, this is CH3COCH3, this is acetone, right? Now if I go to the details, you can see, right, that this particular oxygen is quite electronegative, so will have a delta negative sign. Whereas you consider this particular carbon, it will have a delta positive sign, and this all is happening because of the difference in electronegativity of carbon and oxygen, right? Now see, if you talk about this particular carbon, it is sp2 hybridized, whereas if you talk about this particular carbon, which is forming 4 sigma bonds and hence is sp3 hybridized, right? Now what happens? Because, so overall I can say that there is a difference in electronegativity of the central carbon and of the carbon at the corner. In these two carbons also there is a difference in electronegativity that you will find out, right? And when you will figure out that there is a difference, then what will happen? This delta positive carbon will try to attract the shared pair of electrons of this CC bond. Okay, so see, I am saying this is more electronegative and this is less electronegative. So a more electronegative element will try to attract the electrons from the less electronegative element, right? Now what will happen to this carbon? This carbon in turn will try to attract the shared pair of electrons from the CH bond. That means now this hydrogen which is left will be left with very less electron density. Okay. So when hydrogen will be left with very less electron density, so I can say this will become acidic hydrogen. Okay. Now see, once again if I write, so I am drawing the expanded form. So see, this hydrogen can be lost as H plus, but this pair of electron will now be getting into the resonance. This pair of electron will come here, okay. Now since this carbon cannot form 5 bonds, so this pair of electron will now go to oxygen, fine. So if I ask you to draw the resonating structure, then I can say, so CH3, CO will get a negative sign and this double bond will be there one hydrogen, one hydrogen, right? And this H plus, rather than going away from the molecule, will be captured by this oxygen negative atom, and once it will be captured by O minus, it will lead to the formation of this form. Okay. Earlier, the acetone could be written as CH3COCH3, right? And this you can see was a ketone. So this was the ketonic form of acetone. So that is why the name acetone. Clear? Now see, this is becoming alcohol. So alcohol can be written as ol, right? And this is becoming alkene. So you can see ene. So this form together, where on a single carbon atom it will be forming a double bond as well as will have an OH. This will be known as enol form. Okay. So this complete compound is the enolic form of acetone. Fine. Now these two compounds are not in resonance, because you remember, right, in resonance there is never ever the movement of atom. But in these two compounds there is a movement of hydrogen atom. So this has been given a new name, and this is known as keto-enol tautomerism. So I don't know when you will be watching this video. Maybe when by the time you watch the video, you already have got some idea about tautomerism. In case you have not done this topic as of now, don't worry. I will be discussing the details of tautomerism in organic chemistry. Okay. But now finally let me come on to the question, and here the question was that you have to figure out the enol form of acetone contains how many sigma, pi bond and how many pair of electrons. So the best way to do this question is to draw the detailed form of the enol. That means every single lone pair has to be shown properly, every single single bond, double bond should be shown perfectly. So see, how will I show? The corner carbon atom is joined to 3 hydrogens, leading to the formation of CH3, right? Which is then joined to a carbon atom, which is then joined to 1 atom of oxygen, which is further joined to 1 hydrogen atom, and will be having 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 pair of electrons are there. This carbon in turn will further form 2 bonds with another carbon atom, which is forming 2 bonds with each hydrogen atom, right? Now let's simply do the calculation of total number of sigma and pi bonds. So we have first sigma, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8. So can you see 9 sigma bonds are there, right? And then there is 1 pi bond. So a total of 10 bonds are there, out of which 9 are sigma and 1 is pi bond. And let us count the total number of lone pairs. 1, 2. So 2 lone pairs are there, right? Now let's look at the option. So when I am considering the option, I have a total of 10 bonds, out of which 9 are sigma, okay, 9 are sigma, okay. So B and C cannot be the answer, right? 1 is pi, 2 are pi. So even D is not the answer, and 2 lone pair of electrons. So the correct answer for this particular question is option number A. Clear? Good and easy question. So we have learnt a lot from this particular question, right? Fine. Now having done this much, let us simply move on to our next question. And let me now get on the screen your question number 5, which says that which one among the following does not have the hydrogen bond. Hydrogen bond is not present in which of the following. So you know, right, for the hydrogen bond the important condition is that hydrogen should be sandwiched between two atoms. So, one, it should be linked through a direct covalent bond, and the another, it should be bonded in the just dipole attraction. And the side atoms which have to be bonded with hydrogen, they can be either fluorine, oxygen or nitrogen. Here also they have to be small and highly electronegative. Right? Let's try to figure out all the options. The first you can see here is phenol. So, phenol is an organic compound, OH, right? Now, one molecule of phenol could be easily linked to the another molecule of phenol. See, hydrogen sandwiched between oxygen and oxygen. So, hydrogen bonding is there in phenol, right? So, A is not our option. Second option is liquid ammonia. So, let us draw for liquid ammonia. So, for liquid ammonia, this is NHHH. Liquid ammonia means that the molecules will be close to each other since they are in the liquid form. So, one hydrogen can be bonded to another nitrogen from another molecule of ammonia. So, you can see hydrogen is sandwiched between nitrogen and nitrogen. So, yes, there is also hydrogen bonding. So, even this is also not the option. Then we have water. Yeah, this is very common. One water molecule is attracted to another water molecule. Hydrogen is sandwiched between two oxygen atoms. So, yes, this is also hydrogen bonding, not the option. Now, the left out is HCl, 1HCl, HCl. I said hydrogen should be sandwiched either between F, O or N, but here it is Cl and Cl, so no. So, there is no hydrogen bonding present in the case of HCl molecule, and hence we can say that there won't be any hydrogen bonding in HCl, and hence this will be the correct answer. Okay. Again, a good question. Now, having done this one, let's move on to the second part, which is question number 6. Give me a minute, let me just clean the board, then we will move on to question number 6. So, here in question number 6, the question says that the ClCCl, that means he is talking about chlorine, carbon, chlorine, angle in 1,1,2,2 tetrachloroethene. So, it is again an organic molecule, 1,1,2,2. I have tried to take simple organic compounds because you have this much idea in your class 10th also, right? 1,1,2,2 tetrachloroethene and tetrachloromethane. Tetrachloromethane. You have to tell me the ClCCl bond angle. So, first it is ethene. So, C double bond C. But at both 1 and 2 position, 4 chlorines are there. Right? And the another is tetrachloromethane. So, in the case of methane, just remove the 4 hydrogens and replace them with 4 chlorines. So, it will give you tetrachloromethane. Now, we need to find out the ClCCl bond angle. So, see ClCCl. You know, right, this particular carbon is sp2 hybridized. So, when it is sp2 hybridized, the bond angle will be 120 degree. That is why it is planar. Right? And in the case of CCl4, this complete compound is tetrahedral because this carbon is sp3 hybridized. So it's tetrahedral and thus the bond angle is 109 degree 28 minutes. Okay, let's look into the options. So we have 120 degree, only one option, none of them is correct, and 109.5 degree is same as 109 degree 28 minutes. So again option number A will be the correct option for this particular question. Clear? I don't think it was a tough question, but yes, it was a good question. Now moving on to the next question. So when I am asking you to move on to the next question, we have question number 7th. And question number 7 says that you need to talk about the geometry of H2S and its dipole moment. So a T is missing here. So you have to talk about the geometry of H2S. How? If I go for the VSEPR, or I can simply go for VBT, or I can simply do the calculation by using the formula for steric number. So steric number is half number of valence electrons of central atom. So you can see, right, the central atom in this particular case is sulfur. So how many valence electrons? So let me first write number of valence electrons of central atom plus number of atoms which are attached by sigma bond. Attached by sigma bond. Plus minus charge if it is present on the molecule, right? So if I use the same concept, steric number half. Sulfur is a central atom which is having a total of 6 valence electrons, plus number of atoms attached by single bond which is 2, plus no charges are there, no plus, no minus, because it's neither a cation nor an anion, it's a neutral molecule. So we'll have a total of 8 divided by 2, which makes it 4, right? So the simple thing that I have got in my mind is it is sp3 hybridized, right? And if the steric number comes out to be 4, now we need to talk about lone pair and bond pair. So only out of 4, only 2 bond pair are there. So 2 bond pairs and 2 lone pairs, right? But see, we not only have to talk about the hybridization, rather we need to talk about the geometry also. Now how will I go to this answer? So it should have been tetrahedral, right, with a bond angle of 109 degree 28 minutes. But then 2 lone pairs are present. So if I say 2 lone pair of electrons are there, when 2 lone pair are considered, one will come here, one will come here. Now see, if you click a picture, you won't be able to see the lone pairs, right? So lone pair are ghost. You remember I told you in class, lone pairs are ghost. You won't be able to see them in picture. The only thing that you can see is this, right? And see, when I am talking, it should be H, S, H, lone pair, right? Now if I talk about the charge separation, hydrogen is delta plus, sulfur is delta minus, hydrogen is delta plus. And if I talk about the dipole moment, dipole is from, see, D-I-P-O-L-E. E represents negative, P represents positive. So positive to negative, right? Now these two are there in upward direction, even the lone pairs are pointing in the upward direction. So the overall dipole moment of the molecule will be in upward direction, right? So it will be a polar molecule. I mean dipole moment is not 0, okay? So first let us compare. Angular, angular, linear, linear. So this is for sure that the molecule is like this. Some angle is there, it's not linear. So these two cannot be the option. And it is saying dipole moment 0. No, dipole moment is not 0. So the final answer is the molecule H2S will be angular and it will have a non-zero dipole moment. Clear? So, option number A will be the correct option for our question. Good one? Fine. Now, having done with the 7th question, let's move on to our next question. And our next question that you can see on the screen is, now you have to comment which contain both the polar and non-polar bonds. So, what are the definition of polar and non-polar bonds? So, polar basically means when charge separation is there, right? That means when dipole exists. And non-polar bond means no charge separation. So, in any particular molecule, you have to figure out whether both polar as well as non-polar bonds are present simultaneously or not, right? Let's go for NH4Cl. So, NH4 positive is like this. It's an ionic compound, right? Okay, polar is there. Now, even in NH bond, this is delta plus, this is delta minus. So, this is polar, 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 polar and ionic bond. So, there is no concept of presence of non-polar bond. So, this is wrong option, right? Now, let us consider the option HCN. So, try to draw HC triple bond N, right? So, hydrogen is delta plus, carbon is delta minus. So, this particular bond is polar. Now, in the case of C and N, carbon will now become delta plus and nitrogen will become delta minus. So, this is also polar. Both the two bonds that are present are polar. That means again this is not the option. Now, let us consider H2O2. So, when you consider H2O2, see here carefully, hydrogen is delta plus, oxygen is delta minus. So, this bond is polar. So, once again this bond is polar, right. So, two polar bonds are there. But if I consider OO bond, delta 0, no charge separation is present in OO bond, right. So, there is both polar, non-polar, polar. So, both kind of bonds are present in the molecule H2O2 and hence this will make me mark option number C as the correct option for our question number 8. Clear? So, this was again a good but not a tough question, good question although. So, our question 8 is done. Now, we are left with 2 more questions. Let us do both the questions one by one. Okay. So, question number 9. It says that PCl5 exists but NCl5 does not exist because. I know an obvious answer for this particular question. Like you know, right? PF5 exists, PCl5 exists. Although even PCl5 is not very stable and on heating, PCl5 also goes decomposition and gets converted into PCl3 and Cl2. Right? But yes, PCl5 does exist, but there is no proof of existence of NCl5. Why? See, while we were talking about phosphorus, I said that phosphorus is 3s2 3p3. And then you remember what I said? I said that phosphorus has to form a total of 5 bonds. So, 5 bonds were to be formed, so 5 unpaired electrons were required, but phosphorus was having just 3 unpaired electrons. So, God will come, it will give little bit of energy to the 3s electron which gets excited to the empty 3d orbital, right. That means, and now then we can continue further that all of them will undergo hybridization and all, the whole story that I told you. That means it is basically because of the presence of vacant d orbital that phosphorus was able to do the excitation of its electron, right? And that was the reason that phosphorus could expand its octet and it can form PCl5. But when we talk about nitrogen, nitrogen is 2s2, 2p3, and then we have 3s. That means now there was no 2d present because of which the excitation could be possible. So if I possibly talk about the reason, so it says that PCl5 exists but NCl5 doesn't exist because nitrogen has no vacant d orbital. Yes, that is the correct explanation. Then second it says because NCl5 is unstable. Yeah, I mean he is simply saying why NCl5 is unstable. So this is the reason it doesn't exist. So this is not a good answer. So nitrogen atom is much smaller than phosphorus. I agree. All these are good points. I mean these are facts that nitrogen is smaller than phosphorus. Nitrogen is little highly inert. By the way, nitrogen is not highly inert. N2 is highly inert, right? So all these are just okay, but these are not valid for our answer. Okay, so if you need a proper answer for this question, you need to make sure you have to introduce the word d orbital. Fine? Okay, good one. So now having done this question also, now we have our last question, and let's see the question. The question is, okay, the shape of CH3 positive is, it's a carbocation, right? So we need to tell the shape and it's a kind of fill in the blank. So if I do by the steric number method, steric number, the same formula I have written earlier, half, number of valence electrons of central atom, 4, plus number of atoms attached by single bond, 3, minus 1. So 4 plus 3, 7, 7 minus 1 is 6. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. That means carbon is sp2 hybridized. So carbon will be there in the center. 3 hydrogen atoms will be there. And the complete molecule will have a positive charge. So this is how the structure of CH3 positive will look like. But I have to tell about the shape. So you can see it's a kind of equilateral triangle. So the shape will be trigonal plane. Clear? So this is the final. The shape of CH3 plus is you can either write planar also, but the best answer will be a triangular planar or trigonal planar. Okay? So that is it. So guys, these were all the 10 different questions which I had taken basically from the NEET pattern exercises. Okay? But this is not enough. I really want you to practice few more questions from the previous year NEET papers and the other sample papers which are available for this particular chapter, chemical bonding. Since this chapter, chemical bonding, is really an important chapter and it's scoring also, so make sure you practice as many number of questions as you can. Okay? So I really hope that you will be doing practice of lots of questions, and that's it for today. Thank you for the session. Take care. Bye-bye.